to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Oscar Bevis, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Johnny Nelson joins me here at the GBM Sports Show at the Doncaster Dome. Johnny, thanks for giving me some of your time. How are we, mate?
It's cool, man. I'm all right. It's nice to get to the local shows again.
Let's talk about Sheldon, obviously someone that you're involved with, had that time in the boxer tournament. Showed some of his skill in that, obviously, in the end didn't win the tournament, but bounces back tonight with a win and something I can imagine you're very pleased with.
Yeah, so he needed just to get back in the saddle again. I think I've always said to get wisdom, you've got to go through experiences, both good and bad. And if you're going to go through the bad experiences, you need to go through them early to make you a better, wiser fighter down the line. For Sheldon, how he boxed tonight, I thought he boxed smart, boxed sharp. Even in the tournament, so many people said his boxing IQ was second to none. What he lacked in was experience. And so you're going to have to go through stuff to get experience. I think tonight showed how good a boxer he is, how good a boxer he can be, shows strength. Again, he's still very green, but there's so much potential to work with. I'd be very surprised if Sheldon didn't become, or at least box for a British title. I'd be very surprised. You know, he's in this, he's been studying to be an accountant, and his last fight, the reason why he had to pull out, it was because he had 3 exams the same week, and so he had to prioritise, which I like that. I like that correct attitude. Now he has choices. He's an intelligent young man that can box. He's giving boxing a go. I think he'll do pretty well. But he's setting an example to other fighters that are around. You know, you can do them both.
Obviously, as someone who's been at the top of the game, I'm interested, and I'm sure the viewers will be as well, to kind of know what you sort of look for when you see talent. Obviously, you will have an eye for talent. What sort of stuff do you look for? I know you mentioned kind of the outside of the ring, and you're kind of impressed with an attitude to have just a bit more than boxing and a bit to your personality, but perhaps more in terms of boxing. What's kind of the stuff you specifically look for in fight?
Boxing-wise, it's one, it's about commitment. 2, it's about desire. Natural talent is, you know, I'd prefer someone that had commitment and desire rather than natural talent, because I was one of those fighters. If you can listen, if you can observe, if you can take information on, then you can be moulded. Sheldon actually has an old head, an old wise head on an inexperienced body, and I don't know where it's come from. He said he used to box with his dad from the age of 6, but he was really into the football. When I look for fighters and I look for talent, I look for instinct, I look for an eye, I look for somebody that's happy and comfortable being unorthodox. Doesn't mean they're awkward, it means they're unorthodox in what they're doing. Because they're the worst kind of people to know how to fight. How are you going to prepare for them? Sheldon has some basic skills that are very, very natural, that he just doesn't actually realise how talented he actually is. And so, listen, we fell into this by accident. I said, look, turn pro, man. You can fight. You're all right. Got an excellent jab, and it's a staying jab. Good variation, good eye. Yes, the ego needs to be put in check a bit, like most human beings. But once he learns these experiences, this guy will be a really good fighter.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing where the journey progresses from here on. Johnny, a couple big talking points. Obviously, one at the moment being the Conor Benn situation. I can't remember the last time we kind of spoke to you. It feels like it's been years since that original Daily Mail article, just because of the sheer amount of kind of news outlets and regular updates that we're getting from promoters and kind of everyone putting their worth in, I suppose. Just kind of from what you saw today from them news articles from the Times and the Sun, Conor's comments, if you've seen them, just kind of your take on them.
Well, first of all, Conor has made it quite clear. It does an investigation that he wants to get to the bottom of as well. The substance was found in him. He keeps repeating, saying, "Look, I didn't. You know, you saw the report. You saw what he wrote. So it's then down to him to actually prove to say, everybody, look, I didn't do this. It's very hard. And I'm quite sure he's heartbroken. And trust me, in the boxing world, Conor Benn is a loved young man. Nobody wants to throw Conor Benn under the bus. This situation's arose, so it has to be dealt with. Everybody and anybody is getting scatterbombed by this situation. The Boxing Board of Control, Eddie Hearn, everybody else around him. This is a Conor Benn and Conor Benn team problem. They've got to deal with. They've got to get to the bottom of. Then after that, then you can look at everything else around it. Conor Benn is going to try and prove his innocence, and this is one of those experiences in life that he's got to actually get through to say, look, you know what? I went through a shit period and I had to prove myself. I had to prove to say this is who I am. And so this is just that period he's got to go through. Everybody can cast aspersions and say, is this, that and the other. Nobody knows the real deal. One thing we know for a fact is a substance was found. Now you've got to get down to the bottom of it. And it's a case of proving that as well, how it got there. And that's what Conor wants to try and do.
I know Eddie said yesterday to the media that with a doping situation, the fans kind of always view it as guilty until proven innocent, whereas most things it's seen, it should be innocent until proven guilty. Can you kind of understand why fans would look at a doping charge and have the guilty until proven innocent view?
I do understand, and that's why Conor's in a position where he's fighting to prove his innocence. Unfortunately for Conor, a substance was found in his system. So therefore, he's got to prove how it got there without him knowing. That's the case. That's the facts. Let's not confuse it with anything else. He said, she said, this said. That's the facts. So that's down to Conor and his team to get the job done. And listen, so many people are surprised that if anybody, Conor Benn has found himself in this situation because he's a true warrior. He's a fighting man. He wears his heart on his sleeve. But he's got to explain himself, and either way, that's just how it is.
Were you surprised in the statement in the articles that come out, in the fact that he said he will never box under the British board again? Because I suppose if you're not boxing under the British board, there's a lot of the boxing world that wouldn't consider you a fighter, if you will. You can box under any license you want, but it's the British Boxing Board of Control that we kind of view as professional fighters in this country.
I don't believe that. That might be how he feels at the moment. Because of the current situation. I don't believe it. We've seen it in the past before. That's just how he feels now. It's his career, his decision to hand back his license. If Conor Benn decides to box on, I wouldn't be surprised to see him eventually boxing with a British Boxing Board of Control license. That's just emotion talking. He's angry at everybody and anybody because of what he's being accused of. And you can't blame the public. And looking at it from Conor's side, you can't blame Conor. He's saying, look, I'm an innocent man. It's just one of those things that have got to be sorted out, and then let the dust settle, let the facts tell the story. Don't let people bullshit you and hustle you with big words and throwing stones at everybody else. Just deal with the facts. And that's it. And that's all has to be done.
Just one more thing on this situation. Obviously, Eddie's kind of coming from criticism, mainly from Simon Jordan, but perhaps a fair bit of the boxing public as well, in kind of perhaps not answering certain questions or maybe trying to spin answers at times. Obviously, look, there are relationships within the media, so I know media outlets aren't just going to go in and immediately slam someone. You've got a job to do as a journalist, but can you kind of see both sides of the side that Eddie's on, where it's probably a tough thing for him to talk about, and then the other side why perhaps people would be critical of the way things have been handled?
I love Simon Jordan. I think he's got massive cojones where he's going to say what he thinks, and he don't mind.
He's Morgan of radio.
Yeah, he doesn't mind being threatened to be sued. But again, let's not deviate off the path. It's not Eddie that this substance was found. It was Conor. Conor and his team have to deal with it. And it sounds like I'm defending Eddie, but I'm not. It's not about Eddie. The effects of what Conor has done. Let's talk about that later, but let's deal with the situation. Eddie's coming for a lot of fire. The British Boxing Board are coming for a lot of fire. The fact is, a substance was found in Conor Benn. Conor Benn has to prove why it was there. So when we start distracting and talking about the board, talking about Eddie, talking about Simon Jordan, again, it's not actually addressing the issue and dealing with the argument. So I'm not defending Eddie. What I'm saying is, Eddie's not the guilty party here. He's not the one that's been found with the substance in his system, it's Conor and Conor and his team. So forget Eddie, forget Sam, and forget the boxing mode of control. When Conor's addressed it and dealt with this correctly, then deal with the aftermath.
Johnny, just on Tyson Fury and Dillian White, obviously we had the confirmation of that fight. Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora, should I say? The trilogy, December the 3rd at Tottenham. Just your take on that fight.
Derek has got to be one of the highest paid losers going. He's talked himself into a position again to fight the Gypsy King, and he's getting paid handsomely. So Derek, as a prize fighter, has done what he wants to do, which is get paid for fighting. Tyson Fury wants to run out. In Tyson's head, it might be a soft touch. He's beaten twice already. So again, it's a Tyson Fury show. If where they're putting the event on, they're expected to sell it out. It'll just show the popularity of Tyson Fury because he's boxed this man 2 times now. It'll be the third time. So it's just getting him a run out to say, look, I'm back. I'm not retired. I don't want half a bill. I'm not going to fight X, Y, Z. I'm back. So that's really what the show's about.
Can you understand why, from Fury's perspective, if he sees Chisora as a soft touch, then perhaps it's a fight that the public should allow if you're going to get Usyk next? This is presuming you're going to get Usyk, as you say, then perhaps it's a fight that people can kind of allow Chisora maybe?
Yeah, without a doubt. Look, like it or not, Tyson Fury has proved he's the best heavyweight in the world. Like it or not, like his message or not, he's proved it. So, and so he's saying, look, I'm going to step back in. You're going to judge everybody I boxed, and everybody I boxed today, I've beaten. I've done my job. So Tyson Fury has the grace to do that. So look, I've done my bit. And if I decide to box Alexander Usyk, or go down this AJ route, or go down this Deontay Wilder or Dillian White, he can do what he wants because he's at the top of the tree. And until proven otherwise, he's in a very strong position.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.